Last session, we looked at closing the distance, just a little something from the stand-up to the clinch, so we could then take it to the ground. This time, we're gonna do it on the ground. And we said beforehand speaking, there's so many things to cover, but I think this is pretty simple, pretty effective, and pretty efficient. And I say again, it's not the only thing. Hopefully, you guys can take something from it, and this is like a building block, let's put it that way. It's not the only thing you can do. And I like to stress that with everything because it's something that's always in constant evolution. But what I show you is what I use when I have a proper vale-tudo or MMA or rounds, a little street rounds with the punches. These are the things that become very high percentage for me. And if I do it live and I inoculate it enough and drill it enough and actually play live with it enough, then I'll use it. You know, it's all well and good to do things, but if it's not working under fire, you've got to adjust it and adapt it. And this is what this is here. So I'm going to get Mike on his back. Mike's going to deploy it for us, and I'm going to give him the energy to drill it. So one thing here, I like to think when someone in the side control position, because anywhere that anybody ends up on top, it's going to be your jiu-jitsu. The beautiful thing, because we all practice jiu-jitsu, is when you're, someone's laying on top of you, someone's in a top game, it's not the most foreign thing to us. Almost, not almost, we love it because this is where we are. Top game, bottom game to jiu-jitsu. So many people are from a self-protection point of view, even someone just laying on top of them, that's very confronting. That's actually super uncomfortable in itself. So before any punches get thrown, that is already a bad situation for them. Now, it's not that we're not worried about it, but we know, we understand it. So if someone was to be flat on me here, I'm not concerned about the pressure or the holding because I know jiu-jitsu. But what you do have to concern yourself with is when the person punches. And when we talk reality, we say people are going to try to control you and then they're going to hit you for sure. If they're just wrestling you, then it's just jiu-jitsu, and that's fine, that's no problems. But I like to put it in this context. Let's say Mike and I have been fighting, boom, we clinch, and I end up bang, on the floor. And I think, how many ways could somebody control me? And how would they control me? I have had new clients come in, and if you said, and this is not to disrespect, this is just very, very normal, how would you hold someone down? They use their hands. Well, this already is way too much space. He's going to escape it. But if we thought reality, people come in and they hold you tight. So I'm going to go like an old school grab, hold it, I'm holding onto Mike because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just squeezing him. Or maybe I held him down here and I'm just trying to lay my body over him and then getting ready to strike. If the person's super technical, back to jiu-jitsu again. So once we end up in this position, I say two things here. If they're hitting you, they're not holding you. And if they're holding you, they're not hitting you. So we already said, I'm not worried about you holding me. I can deal with this. I'm going to be concerned about the hits. But if they want to hit, they have to give space. And this is not too concerned. It's easy to deal with. We're worried about this. We've been fighting, slam him on his back. Cool, he's panicking, I'm panicking, or whoever the fight is, and it's this. And that's how it's going to go. The guy's going to hit you. And when he hits you, flash bang, and now this psychology goes down. It's not just the physical. Maybe one knocks you out, maybe not. They're highly unlikely unless you're very unlucky, but it's the psychology. Then you start going into panic. So this is a cool little drill we like to put together. Stimulus response, stimulus response. So I go here and I think there's three ways that Mike can hit me from here. He can, that I'll hit Mike from here. I sit up, this arm. I sit up, this arm, and my arms are around holding like this, and it's hammer fist. And everything else in between, but that when my arm will be here, or my arm will be here. Very similar to when we're rolling. Not really many other places we can put your arms. So from here, not wrong. It's good. There's a time, place, sequence for everything, but I feel there's maybe too many shots in there. So I sit up like this and I go to hit Mike and he goes back to guard. He tries to bring his leg in here, but in the process, he's eating some punches. Again, I love the guard, and there is a time, place for the guard, a little bit different way to get to it though. So Mike, if we come on the slide, so when I go here, this time, when I go like this, Mike goes, you want to go that way? Boom. he sticks to the principle and he goes with it, which is boom, 100% quicker, and he closes that distance quick because we've got to be in or we've got to be out. And there's a time to go out and there's a time to stick with the person. We go again there, Mike. Beautiful. So see how he's come up, and the most important thing is he's hugged his ear to me. You get this, but we'll look at this in a second. There's very two stimulus from here. Get the hell off me or try and smash him back on the floor. Then that's where the jiu-jitsu comes back into play. So we go again, and I want to make reference of this. Spin around this way, my way. And for those who have a very good jiu-jitsu understanding, and we understand that it takes time, a real felt sense, when you come up, you don't have to grab onto anything. You can start to understand your arm and your body's pinned together. Mike and I were just talking about this before, but both all of the above, here's something I want to reference. When Mike comes up, he goes under, and I'm going to ask him to grab my belt if I'm training with my gi on, because the belt represents my pant line. And obviously my gi and my belt goes over the pant line. So obviously if I had no gi on, he grabs my pants, boom, here. And I say to someone, you know, anybody, self-protection, they're going to have clothes on. Otherwise, you probably shouldn't be rolling with them, right? So I want to make sure that people understand that you're going to grab something. Jeans, tracksuits, shorts, anything. So when he comes underneath, boom, he's grabbing. That's his control to pull himself into me to stay tight. Okay, let's go again. Same thing, Mike. This. And he comes quick. So he has the option to have this hand to punch, or now he has the option to have this hand to punch. But we're coming from different angles. Remember we said the 3 angles? That's the only way the person's going to hold you down, and that's the way they're going to hit. It's got to come from one of those angles. So now I go here and I sit back and I go to hit him with this. Mike's going to turn towards me, he's going to put his forearm in. Now, I just said to Mike beforehand, forearm, when we hold the forearm, it's strong because people are going to hit it hard. So my forearm, when Mike, we spin around to the camera, when Mike is here and he takes this shape is not just this arm, because that's just going to rebound into his head. This is locked in 100%. Some things you don't see on video, you've got to feel it. This is locked in all down here. So when I hit Mike and I catch that forearm is distributed, it's 90 kilos. Boom, that's like hitting a wall. It comes, boom, blocks it. Then he can palm it off to the hand. Cool, you can go into the inner elbow, whatever. Back to palm it off like we did the other day from the stand-up, controlling that arm. Now, Mike doesn't have to block it with his forearm. I like the forearm because it's more surface area. Sometimes rolling, the person hits my timing and I can catch it with my hand, but I don't want to rely on the hand because the hand is connected to the wrist and somebody's upper body power is going to power through that. But it's not wrong to catch the hand. I usually go to the forearm and then I end up palming it off to the hand, and then it's jiu-jitsu as usual. So we'll go again there, Mike. Same thing. Here. Beautiful. Keep the hips on the floor. Here. There. Hand again. Beautiful. One more time. Nice, strong. Nice. So he's coming with me, but you understand what we said before is when I was holding here, and let's say I'm saying to Mike, I'm gonna smash you, I'm gonna hurt you. And what we said the other day, distance and understanding ranges is not from there, you're not. You have to leave me. Now, if my response is, Mike, when I back up, just cover your head. Like panic cover your head. This, I'm gonna say it's not the worst thing because it's a natural response, but you've got to learn to go with it. This is where the drill comes in. When they move, you move. No difference to your jiu-jitsu every day, it's just in a different context. So when I leave Mike and I have to hit him, boom, he's got that stimulus response to make action now. Not go into covering up and start taking a beating. So let's put those two together there, Mike. We'll go the underhook first. to this arm. Here. Good. Same thing. Underhook. Here. And here. Beautiful. And thirdly, my arms now are over here. This position where I'm holding here, or whether I'm holding here, now like hammer fist. So he's going to redirect me. When I come up to hit him, his arm's going under my armpit and he's redirecting me off. I go here, this position. Just like when rolling, I don't try and bench press him off. Nothing is done with the bench press. I wanted to raise my arm. He filled the space and then he redirected me the other way. Under the arm. If I have my arms down, Mike's wedging his forearm under there. If I wanted to catch him with the back of my elbow, his forearm's getting wedged underneath, back to surface area. Here, and then he redirects me with his forearm to his hand. Here. Again, very similar how you would move before. Exactly the same as you move when you're rolling. This is all jiu-jitsu, it's just in different contexts. The context is key. So let's go again that way. Over the top. Good. Way to hit. Holding. Hit. Nice. So then we're going to put it into a drill, microlinear and linear. We're going to go one arm, two arms, move my arm around, and then hit again. So you'll get that stimulus response, or we're going to keep it very linear at the moment, one after the other. So we'll shift that away. Nice and slow. 1, 2. Here. So you can see where the drill comes into. And again, just reverting back to what we said before, there's only so many ways that that person can put their hands. Very similar way for me to look at it when we're rolling jiu-jitsu. How do I escape it? Or how can he hold me down? It's only got 2 arms. So this drill, it's not a linear drill like we said before, as in we saw it like this form to train it, to understand it, so I get the stimulus response, and we do it with good energy. I'm going to put my gloves on and start hitting Mike. He doesn't understand it. We've got to build it slowly. Then you do this long enough, and you can go any which way you want. You can start on the left or the right, back. The person's already there. So now they realize that once the pressure leaves them, and it will leave them here, now that response is already there. A great way to train it. So if I go to hit Mike like this, maybe I go to hit him here. Boom. Now, of course, the person's going to adapt. It's not like they're going to do one punch, which is very important to understand. Now I go to adapt it. So I'm going to try and bring my arm over to change it to a hammer fist. And he adapts and just sends me back the other way. So he's blocked me here. This one goes under my armpit and here. Perhaps I started here and I went to hammer fist him and I held my weight. Then went to change it to hit him with the other hand. What was the same? So that drill there we're looking at is a stimulus response drill, a functional drill, and it's a fun drill. Nobody wants to get punched in the head. But we're looking at it from the point of view, remember, you're either in or you're out. There was a time to go to guard, absolutely. What happens next is where your jiu-jitsu then takes over. So perhaps if I was to show this to someone who had no skill on the ground or understanding on the ground, I'm sorry, then they wouldn't know where to move next. And they actually wouldn't know how to move like that. Even moving your hips, sitting up, of course, because they're learning. So with a good jiu-jitsu skill, Mike has good jiu-jitsu skills, and I know you guys have, then it becomes very easy to deploy. So let's look at it in a context once he's made that position. Once I go here and he comes up, look, Now, I say two very, very common things. If it's the jiu-jitsu player, I said beforehand, that's jiu-jitsu on jiu-jitsu, that's cool because that's what you guys play every week. And yeah, kind of stuff down, control his shoulder, and start to gain control. If he does that, the threat is not from the hits again, the threat is from the technique and jiu-jitsu. But we're thinking of the thug. It's very important. The jiu-jitsu should be able to adapt to the jiu-jitsu expert and the thug. So I go here and he sits up, boom. Now I'm looking for this, get the hell off me. Maybe push, try to hit him again. And Mike doesn't try to fight me, pull me back into guard, try and pull me down. He says, you want to go away? I'm going to send you away. And he comes and sticks to me like glue. Boom. And bang, back to blanket. And it depends. Maybe the guy does a crazy move and turns his back. Ooh, then he gets flattened on his belly. Maybe he gets flattened on his back, or he gets flattened to the position, the very similar position we saw the other day. From the side control to here, I go to hit my boom. Get off me here. And look what he's doing. It's very important that he blankets over my arms. If Mike sat down a little bit further, not only would he have to deal with me pushing him away, but he also has to deal with me hitting. And into another session and many is, I understand the guy has a weapon, whatever. He wants to always know where my arms are. Go for it. Blanket the arms. There's just yes. Nice. Because I think it's important to understand when we know where the arms are, there will be the things that do the pushing, the pulling, the scratching, and the grabbing, the punching, and the reaching for things. So if I know where they are at all times, that's a good thing. So, other option, maybe I've gone to hit Mike, he comes up. This time, I don't go back. This time, I try to muscle him down and try to flat him on his back. So Mike says, same thing. He helps me out as long as he stays tight, because his concern is the hits. Now I try and muscle him down, and he starts to look to redirect me. If my weight sends me that way, or maybe he might look to pull into a half guard, keep tight, okay, until he can weasel his way, work his way around my body, stay tight as long as I can't hit him, and then he can go wherever he wants. Again, just a couple of examples, because whatever happens, it's whatever happens. I don't know where the guy's going to move, but I can adapt anywhere because you have the jiu-jitsu game. As long as we understand the concept, it's in or it's out. Sometimes I want space. If we're together, top and bottom, I'm usually tight to you. You can't do anything. So maybe I go here and hit. This time, Mike keeps the brace, palms it off to his hand, moves his head away and brings his left knee. And then he throws his leg over my back to redirect me away. And this. I would prefer to go the redirection because it captures me quicker than it does to try and go full guard. If Mike's trying to pull all the way through, keep going through the bottom leg. I feel I have too much over the top of him. But again, if time, place, circumstance called for it, then absolutely. You know what feels best as long as you're not getting hit, you're not getting hurt. So when I go here, I hit him, race. He palms it off, moves his head away, and redirects me this. Why? Because he wants my head weight off him, but also now I can't hit him. Beautiful. Of course, he has attacks there and stuff. One thing as well, I think is very important for self-defense. I believe every submission is beautiful. Every submission is valid. I would always look to go to the neck to finish someone, because finishing with the choke, as we did the other day, is more of a high percentage. You could lock up his leg if you need to, you could do his arm if you need to, but the neck is going to stop the threat, and less lethal, he goes to sleep, and everybody's safe, and it's more controlling. I once knew a guy who got into altercation, didn't go his way, broke about 2 arms, and the person still kept going. So it's amazing what mind and other chemicals can do. So always looking to go for that control. So we go again. Here, same thing, Mike. Block. Beautiful. Move yourself away. Here. So many things you can do from this position. This is just one. And now this time here, he's got me, I've hammer fist, he's redirected me. So once he's here, he's going to snake his bum back to me because he wants to create that space. Then he can start to feed me behind his knees, and then he has somewhat sort of control with his legs again, back to some sort of a guard with space. Yeah. Back away. And I want to make mention that when you do this, it's funny when we play Jitsu with hits, you'll often find 95% of the game is Jiu-Jitsu and 5% is hitting. And I said, if you ever wanted to hit, how come you don't want to hit anymore? Because every time we hit, there's too much space and I keep getting thrown off the moves. Beautiful. Jiu-Jitsu at its best. But understanding that the punches will come. And then it gets me a little bit more smart on how I would want to hit him if I was controlling him. 9 times out of 10, I want to control him. But I want to give the energy that real people give. And I think that's super important. You can give other energy, your technical energy, but make sure you give a little bit of street. Because people are frenetic and they go wild. So it's interesting and very important to train that. But how do you train that smart? Of course, you're in a great environment, and we have a great environment here. That is so, so important. But I want to give him the energy. If I come up and I hit him like this, he doesn't respect that and he doesn't get the stimulus. Even though he might knows that I'm not going to hit him, I'm still going to give him the energy because he'll feel it off me and then he'll respond differently. And I want him to get used to that sort of energy that'll come out there. It won't come in the technical form more than likely. If it does, you're good. If it doesn't, then you have a surprise because it comes in a different form, but it'll feel the same. So let's go again, my mate. We're going to put it together. Wherever I go, you adapt to it. We'll go Now, obviously, you can build it up and give all sorts of different energy, but I think it's really important to give that energy like that. You'll see the move, the technique, will make it work in its purest form. And if you go here and it doesn't, the person doesn't move, of course, you don't move them, you move you. Super important. Let's go the other way. So you get the idea of the position with here. Striking, 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 but understanding that there's in and there's out. The person will either hold you or they'll hit you. And risk and reward. Rabbit punch is something that's not going to destroy me. It's different to things that are going to seriously hurt me. So I wanted to show you guys something as structure because I think this is very important for self-defense and why we're in the position here. Like I'll spin it out this way. I'll get you on your knees that way. So I want to look at the Kezakatami, the technical headlock of getting caught in this position. Here. This is a horrible position. And over the years, I've seen a lot of people fall apart in this position because you go to one, try to lift them over, and it ends up being a muscle. And then if you're 2 steps behind, that's 2 punches, and it goes horrible. Your breath starts to become a panic, and people start pushing. Your jiu-jitsu goes out the window. So if Mike jumps off me one second. So we've got around the head. If the person's under the shoulder, there's too much of my arm to deal with their head. It's probably not the best position for them. It's a little easier position. But it's all about structure. So when I go here, the first thing I want to think of, and obviously done simultaneously very quickly, as soon as I end up in this position, and we know that from one position to the worst, that was 10, and it started at 1, where the person was half crashed over you before they ended up. There's all those steps, 1 to 10, where you should have slowed it, stopped it, but this is now a 10. Vroom. It's very quickly got me in the head. Jumped on from behind, got me like a little schoolyard headlock, and then pulled me to the floor. Who knows how it's happened? I'm here. The first thing, I cuddle into him and I dip my head and I grab his pants, i.e. his belt, because he wears one now, but his shorts or whatnot. We also could lock in with the body for time, but again, for felt sense. So Mike, for here, one thing very, very important, as soon as I grab and I control something, I'm going to pull my shoulder up here. And I keep my elbow very heavy if he wants to pull it out. If he wants to punch me, I can put my hand on my head. Now, it's actually very, very hard for Mike to punch me from this position. It's not something I want to hang around in here for a long time, but 2 or 3 strikes before I make my move, and I can get out or make him move, which is my ultimate goal. So as soon as I come in, I've grabbed his belt and I've raised my shoulder. So Michael, once again, away. So I go here, I hold the belt, elbows down if he's trying to pull it out, so it's heavy, or it's on my head, like this, not beside my head, over the top of my head, because he can't get a clean shot around to my face and my head's dipped. My hand grabs his belt or his pants and I shrug my shoulder. I'm not holding it with my arm, there's a big disconnect. Boom, shrugged. My feet, my toes are on the floor and I'm locked in. So he's got a brick wall behind him now to here. So Michael, same position. And so let's say without the hits, and you go to pull my head off. Go pull, 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 pull. Now the more he pulls, the more he moves, and I want him to move. Feel strong shoulder behind your back. With no shoulder and no structure, he pulls my head. He already feels, he's on my ribs, he's on my lungs, this is going to be panic. So my number one before any technique, and it doesn't matter what technique you add to it, whether it be walk away, roll him over, let him go, whatever technique you have, first is the structure before anything. So I've landed up in this position, he's here, locked in, good, pull my head off my, nice, good switch. I'll go on you. This way. So I've got his head. I lock in, he grabs my belt, and he shrugs his shoulder. And his goal is to, the emphasis is to turn that shoulder into me as he pushes toes here. Now he is like a rock. This is very interesting because I get to this as the person's coming in, and I play with all the ranges to do it quick or let it get to 10 because you've got to see all the places, but it is literally like a rock and you can rebound it at any time before he settles too much. Use it again, just rolling. It doesn't have to be anything hit or threatening. Roll in Jiu-Jitsu too. So I'm here. Oh, cool. Now, if I go to hit him, he puts his hand on top of his head. It's very hard for me to hit him. Remember, the number one rule is do not panic. Do not panic. Let the person on top's ferocity and madness, let them do the work. You just got to stay cool. If you don't control yourself, we all end up back to the beginning again. I'm hitting. And the more I hit, if it's no hits, it's no threat. The more I hit and I want to get in, the more I move. Now Mike can work his technique wherever he wants to go. So I'm here, and I like to think lastly, there's 2 ranges in here. And off those 2 ranges, there is many things that can come off it. But I go here, 2, I'm either in, whether I'm trying to hold him, or I'm trying to put weight on him. And again, whichever way he wants to go, and he wants to let me go. So when I'm here, I'm tight, If I want to hold him in here, my body weight shifts. He puts his knee under my bum. He stays connected and drives me off. I would say from high percentage, that is my number one escape, because if people put way too much weight, especially in that context, over you, their weight's too easy to move. You'll find when you're rolling with your jiu-jitsu family, people, depending on what level they are, will know how to distribute it. Okay, a little bit more of a game. But remember, these people are not the ones that are hitting. It's more structured here. So I'm going to go back to hitting their mic. Wherever comes up, let's go. So if you show us that structure one more thing there, Mike, so you're on your side, pull here, you grab the belt and you're shrugging your shoulder. So you turned it up. Remember, everything here is engaged. His feet are on the floor, and these toes here, they're dug into the floor, because they're points of contact and they're drivers. It'd be different if you didn't use this foot at all. You'd be missing something down here. So it's very important to understand, you see the technique and then feel why people are heavy, because your whole body is not engaged. Here, this way. And I'm obviously being quite tame in how I'm approaching the hits, but I do ask when my clients are training students are training for the purpose, for the context and self-preservation, to give that wild energy. You'll see how it opens up. But not only is it for self-preservation, it's for your jiu-jitsu. I believe, I like to think of it as structure, principles, and then technique. Because they're all hand in hand, they all go together. It's not one or the other. They're all together, but there's no point having an escape or a submission without any good control before anything else. And dealing with strikes, you'll be really highlighted to see that structure and what can be easily accessible, what works, what's effective, and what's efficient. But it all comes from your jiu-jitsu. So it is jiu-jitsu, it's no different. Otherwise, I would have called it sustainable martial arts, a sustainable jiu-jitsu for a reason. Jiu-jitsu is number one. And as soon as we touch, we mentioned before, whether it's a weapon, whether it's anything, it's movement, it's jiu-jitsu. There's striking elements to everything. Jiu-jitsu has striking, but as soon as we touch, it's jiu-jitsu. And how much can you use it efficiently? And as long as it's in context, because context is key.
And that was awesome, Professor. Thank you so much.
My promise, we rattled through very quickly, but I wanted to give you guys a good 40 minutes to understanding, and yeah, hopefully you got something out of it.
Yes, thank you so much. I love you are a really good instructor. I'm very passionate. I love that.
Oh, thank you very much. And it's, you know, from the heart, man, I absolutely do love it. I'm here. We're just talking about this before, and I know you are as well. Man, this is what we're here for. This is why my vehicle for help people. Jiu-jitsu is a vehicle for life. And this is self-defense, but you know, all the other beautiful side of jiu-jitsu, they all want, they all mix. So thank you.
Yeah, definitely we can feel it through the screen. That's a skill that no every instructor has, you know.
Well, I say every day, this is not a hobby or a job. This is life. What did we say it was before? I can't remember. It's a feel, it's a felt sense, isn't it? So this is what you're here for, 7 days a week. I don't take any breaks. I don't need any breaks. I love it. And I just want to share with people, and if it helps their journey, helps their self-defense, helps them keep safe, helps them know themselves better, it's this is what we're here for. Fighting is easy. I said once many years ago, 20 years ago, I thought it was all fighting, more boxing, more jiu-jitsu, more lifting, more running, and I still do all of the above. I do it, you know, smart. But it's more holistic, because the more you understand the bigger picture, but this is the same. The more you understand yourself, easy to do the technique. First, control and understand your body. Technique is easy.
That's awesome. I really can't wait to have you back in California and share.
I'm looking forward to it, mate. It's going to be great. Can't wait.
Professor, thank you so much. Thank you everyone for tuning in. Hopefully we hang out with Professor again sometime soon. I will edit the videos and I'm gonna put them in EDG online for you guys to have it, and for the replay for the people who couldn't jump into class. Professor,
Perfect, mate.
great. What time is for you right now? What time is
the time is 11 o'clock.
In the morning?
11 a.m., yep.
From tomorrow, you're in our future.
We're upside down, mate.
That's so funny. That's crazy. And what is a regular day for you right now in quarantine? Like, you know, what classes you have? What is that?
For the message for those who are stuck in quarantine?
No, like what is a regular day for you now in the week, like during quarantine? Now that we're, you know, all stuck at home, I want to know that what is your day look like?
Maybe, my day, sorry, why we're stuck at home. My day is training and thinking jiu-jitsu. Nice. Always interacting with my clients, friends, they're all friends, clients, family, they're all one. Training, stay training, stay moving. Drills, I said, you know, I coached this yesterday, and that simple drill of just sitting up, you know, one after the other. Think about how you would move on the floor, move, and it's invigorating. I know Joe Rogan said on a podcast one time, he said, nobody likes to exercise until they exercise for a week, then you crave exercise. You know, nobody likes good food until you eat it for a week, and then you crave it. So those of us who crave jiu-jitsu and crave movement, it's not just movement for the body, it's movement for the mind. Yeah. We know we lose this if we don't move it, and we certainly lose this. So movement is key for me. Not that I lose the plot, but I like to think I'm quite controlled, but it feeds me and I love it. And it's evolution. You should move your body. If you're not moving your body, you become very lethargic, very lazy in every way. And you don't have to go to the, you know, do 2-hour workouts. 10 minutes. Yeah. 10 minutes often. A little, a lot, I like to think. So that's mainly my day, and hanging my babies, mate. Family.
Yeah, that is awesome. Good, awesome message. I agree. It's so hard to stop and don't do nothing for a while and go back. It's super hard to go back to that routine. And I feel that, yeah, at least like moving, doing some drills, staying active and connected is important. Professor.
Absolutely. And it's a discipline, isn't it? You go to sleep and you've done well that day, now you've got to reinvent yourself the next day and do it again. And once it becomes a routine, you know, I say to people, you clean your teeth twice a day, right? Morning and night. Yep. I hope so. You should do. I said, and sometimes they really want it, but you do anyway. I said, well, make your exercise like that, and it becomes life. Movement is life. If I go on a holiday, first thing, exercise. People say, you're on holiday. I said, but
that's my holiday.
It is my holiday. I only exercise twice, where usually I move 10 hours a day. Or nice. So yeah, absolutely, bro. I think that's the secret to life. Love and movement, two major things.
Amazing.